Hello everyone, welcome to Mastering Project Planning. So today's video is about WBS. As you all know, WBS means work breakdown structure. So this is widely used in all of the projects, mostly in EPC or any kind of projects. So work breakdown structure means we are having the scope for the particular project. So we will be breaking down that scope into smaller units so that we can manage that project. So, for example, if you're having some kind of building construction projects or some process unit projects, we may need to define the WBS structure. So, for example, the first level of WBS in a project could be the project name with the start date and end date and what is the plan duration. From there, we need to go into the further level of WBS. So the next level could be level 2 WBS. In the level 2 WBS, we can have as a milestone as one of the WBS. So this is quite useful for the team, for the top management team who just wanted to know when the major phase of the projects are going to start or just to be completed. So the milestones will be level 2. So that could be further breakdown into contractual milestones, payment milestones. Then we have like a LD that is called a penalty milestones, which is called the liquidated damages. Then there could be some kind of interface milestones. Then there could be also some kind of notifications you're going to give to the all stakeholders. So that also can be put in the notification milestones. For normally in the contractual milestones, there are some dates which you need to meet as per the contract. So for example, some kind of a design activities of the particular project has to be completed. So that will be like design finish or design freeze completion. So you may also need to start the design activity. So you can have like a design start or like a contract award also could be coming in the contractual milestone. Then you can further add like construction start and construction finish, then commissioning and handing over of individual areas or units. So this also will come under the contractual milestones. So the next comes the payment milestones. Some projects are executed based on you are achieving some milestones, then you can claim that particular payment. So for example, in a particular project where you have completed the manufacturing of that component, or so then you can claim that particular percentage. So after you go for installation, so you have completed some 20% or 15%, then you can claim that payment. So there are some projects where they define these activities in the contract itself. Then what is the percentage for that? Then they calculated from the overall contract value how much is the percentage. Then the owner pays that particular amount. So this also you can put in the your schedule in the WBS so that you know like if there are some activities which are delayed. So then in the schedule you will come to know when this payment you'll be able to claim. So that date could be slipped due to some delays in the other deliverables. So then comes the penalty milestone. So penalty milestone is nothing but the liquidated damages. So if you're making some kind of a delay, then the client has right to deduct that money from your overall amount. So that is what we call as liquidated damage. Suppose you wanted to deliver all your walls, example, to the yard, so at a particular date. So then after, if you're not able to deliver at the particular dates, then for each day they are eligible to put some penalty. So that could be 0.1 or 0.05% or 0.2% depending upon your contract. So that we call as a liquidated damages. So then if your wall delivery gets delayed, so then the client will put the LD. So then, but you are finishing the installation of the walls as per the contractual date, then we call it as like a clawback mechanism. So then the LD, whatever they put could be waived off. So then the money could be, you could get that payment as well. So that is what we call as LD milestones. So then we also have some kind of interface milestones. So suppose you're going to start some construction of that particular area, then your client has to give the site handover certificate. So that could be called as interface milestones. So then if there are some permits which has to be issued by the owner side, so that also can be put here like interface milestones. Or if there are any other parties, like suppose site preparation works are being executed by other contractor, then the construction works will be executed by a different contractor. So then the site readiness or the site preparation works, when it is getting completed, so that could be your milestones. So then this is like a second WBS, like what I told, like a milestones. Then we may also have a next level of like a next WBS we can consider like project management. So that could be your organization chart, or like your project execution plan, or your project management plan, your risk management plan. So everything will be going under this project management category, project management WBS. So then next WBS will be like engineering or HSE, quality, or something related to construction. So this also they call like a documentation. So for documentation, we may also have engineering. So engineering you can divide like based on your discipline, or if it is some product based thing. So then it will be like basic engineering and detail engineering. Then you'll be having some manufacturing related deliverables. Then you'll be having installation documentation part. Then the next WBS we can have like a procurement. So procurement is like whatever materials you're going to procure for that particular project. So that all comes under your procurement WBS. Then there could be services. So services is nothing but your subcontractor. So some works will be subcontracting to the specialized agencies. So for that also you'll be having this under service WBS. It is nothing but you need to share the scope of works to that particular party. Then he will be providing his offers. Then there will be technical part, will be reviewing the negotiation and for the amount as well as for the schedule. Then you'll be placing the subcontract agreement to that services. So that is will come under the procurement. Then your bulk materials like your pipes or fittings, whatever items that will go to the procurement. There could be some specialized items like some kind of specialized vendors like control valves or these kind of things that will be going under that the procurement part, specialized items. So then comes your next WBS could be your manufacturing or fabrication. For fabrication, you can also further divide it into like some steel structure kind of fabrications, or some vessel or reactors fabrication, or exchangers fabrication. So that could be also come under the manufacturing. So then the next part will be your delivery. So once these items are ready and it's tested, so then you need to dispatch these materials to your site location. So that could be by your sea transportation or road transportation. So based on the distance that you can plan. So if you're going for the sea transportation, so you need to plan it in very advance, because the vessel has to be booked. So then you could load a lot of items over there. So then so that is also will come under like dispatch or store and deliver. So then comes the construction or installation. So for the construction WBS also, you'll be having some initial like pre-construction phase where you need to mobilize your site storage, site office, cabins, photo cabins, or material storage yard, or the fabrication. If you're having some kind of site fabrication, your site fabrication facility, site fabrication yard, you need to do that. Then site storage facility also, you need to prepare that. You need to do the fencing and other kind of things. Then you also need to level or prepare that area. So that will be coming under your pre-construction pre-construction, then it will be like a construction. So the construction, so if there are multidisciplinary project, so then you need to divide further this construction based on your area. There could be different units or different buildings you're going to construct. So then you may need to go for the different process units. Then you can further divide it into civil, mechanical, electrical, instrumentation, all those kind of things. You can group it under that. Landscaping works, that could be coming under your construction. Then there will be a pre-commissioning phase starting in the project. So once the lines are hydro tested, and then you'll be having some pre-commissioning phases where maybe doing some kind of water flushing or chemical cleaning and those kind of activities. It is basically like you are ensuring that equipments or whatever pipe systems before commissioning. So you need to do that pre-commissioning. So for this also you will be having a different level of sub level of WBS, like for each units when you're going to start your pre-commissioning. Like there could be different terms like steam blowing, this kind of things will be sometimes like leak test also you may need to do. Then comes the commissioning part. So commissioning is the final part, like you may need to commission the plant, you may need to operate for particular duration and ensure that it is running at a full load. So this will be your commissioning part. So then commissioning, it is kind of a final testing. So for each units, like you need to specify like when this commissioning start date and end date. So this will be your next WBS. Then there is you may also get some variation order in between the project. So for that also you can add some kind of WBS like variation order. So for that, so what are the activities you plan for that variation order? What is the start date and end date? So this could be useful, like if the project is getting extended. So then this will be very much useful for you during that time. So then there is also like we may also need to monitor the float. So for that also you can add some WBS like float analysis. So for this, like for each units, so how much float we have with respect to the final commissioning date based on your schedule. So you need to always monitor that particular float. So when you're going to start the construction, so whether you have received all your fabricated items, so that also you can monitor that float in the float analysis. Then you may also can have a deleted activities WBS. So there could be some activities which could be removed from your scope by the owners, or there could be some changes in the execution or some design specification or some design. So due to that, which were planned in the original schedule has to be removed, so that you can bring it on to the deleted activities. Or there could be some construction sequence it could be changed, so that also you can bring it under the deleted activities. So this WBS is very much useful because we cannot control the whole project by putting all the activities. So we break down this work, but that also in a particular structure. So that could be your sequential order. So you all know that engineering starts first in the particular project. So that will be in your top of the WBS. Then comes the procurement. So that will be in the second part. So this also, it is like a kind of a sequential order. So this is also useful for various stakeholders. Suppose you have the civil guy and mechanical guy. So the mechanical guy will be very much interested, like when the foundation for the particular unit is getting released. So then you can go to the like in the civil WBS, like there could be like pipe rack foundations and the equipment foundations. So the structural guy will be seeing about the pipe rack foundations. So when the pipe rack foundations are getting ready, so you don't want to see the whole activities inside the WBS, like excavations or your shuttering or rebar fixing. So he is only focused on when that foundation will be completed and when the curing is completed, and it will be, so he can just go to that particular WBS, like the civil WBS, coming to that particular unit when the pipe rack foundations will be released for the structural works or the equipment foundations. the mechanical equipment guys will be particular about that equipment engineer. So similar to that, electrical guy also will be interested, like when the structural works are completed and the piping systems are completed, so that you can start the cable tray works. So for that purpose, this WBS is very important. So then it is also useful like for tracking the project activities. So suppose top management guys, they will be very much interested only on high level of that schedule. So like when is the engineering start date and end date? So what is your actual start and the forecasted finish, whether how much delay is going to happen on that. So then what is the budgeted labor hours, or then what is your actual hours, then what is your budgeted cost and what is your actual cost incurred. So how much cost we have spent, so that you can make it in the percentage, and the progress, how much physical progress we have achieved on the WBS also you can have that. So based on that, you can monitor your cost performance index or the schedule performance index of that particular WBS. So if the SPA is less than 1, so that engineering is not going as per the plan, then if CPI is also, then we're also spending more cost. So definitely it will have impact on the further activities. So in this way also it is useful, this WBS. Then for you wanted to develop the schedule in a detailed way, then also you may need to first define this WBS, then only you can start to add the detailed activities over there. So if you keep on continuously putting all these activities, then it gets very difficult to control that particular project or monitor the project. So in that way, this WBS is useful. As I told you, like it is useful for all stakeholders. Like suppose the owner side, there could be different discipline engineers, so they can go into that particular WBS. Similar to that, the contractor side, there could be various stakeholders, various discipline guys will be there. For them, they can just filter that WBS and they can check that. So then it is also useful for the risk management perspective. So once you know this kind of WBS, like for the engineering, civil, mech, electrical, instrumentation, so each discipline guy can check what are all the risks involved in that particular WBS, whether there are any very schedule like start dates, there is very limited float available. So this kind of things also it is useful for this WBS. So then resource allocation. So for this WBS, who is the responsible guy, who is the responsible manager for the particular area, for the particular unit. So then also this WBS is useful. So hope you all understood the importance of WBS. If you found this video useful, please like, share with your team so that they also get more knowledge about this WBS. So we'll be sharing a lot of EPC related videos in this channel. Please like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching guys. See you soon in another video.